BioBalance Healthcast, episode 116, Erectile Dysfunction from a Psychological Perspective.
Today we're going to talk about ED, but not in the exactly medical way. We're not going to talk about the cause in terms of physically what is wrong with you when you have ED, or physically how do we fix this. We're going to talk about the causes that are more than physical. They're psychological. They're part of who we are, our personalities, what we grew up with, or what we are living through now, or situational. What in our situation is keeping us from being able to climax, or for men to have an erection?
Yes.
And that's your area.
Well, I spent 30 years as a family therapist seeing clients, and have talked to thousands of men and women about the elements of their intimate relationship and what works for them and what doesn't work for them. And one of the things that I spend a lot of time listening to people talk about is issues around having or obtaining, maintaining a satisfactory erection for a fulfilling sexual encounter or sex life. And there are, as we discussed in our last podcast, a lot of physical, mechanical causes that contribute to that. And we talked about what some of those were. We will be talking probably today a little bit about some of the treatments for those things that help adjust it. But if I can frame this conversation in a larger focus than just ED. You know, Kathy, what you and I have spent a lot of time working together on as we've written our book and as we've seen clients that are cross-referenced, people get in relationships, and over time, you know, it's like you fall in lust and then you fall in love. When you're young and you meet somebody, it's like, okay, I could do that one, I could do that one, I could do that one. You can't necessarily do it, but you fantasize.
Men
and
think
people
that.
have.
I don't remember ever thinking that.
All right. Well, I've talked to women who do think that, or tell me that they do. But you attend to someone and you're energized by someone and you desire someone, and then relationships get habituated, life intrudes, and you have children, or you have house payments, or you have overtime at work, or you have Christmas shopping, or you have an argument, and they don't. There's so many social blocks, religious blocks, whatever, to having conversations about sexual matters. You know, I've talked to so many people who think that it's just supposed to work. It's just supposed to happen. Why didn't it work? And why aren't we both satisfied? And how come he or she won't do this or that or the other? And at some point in those conversations, what I start to hear is people say, well, I can't. It doesn't happen for me. I don't get an erection, or I can't keep an erection. And I don't know why. And so what we're going to talk about today is some of what we know about why that sometimes happens. Not as panacea to say, oh, if you just eat more wheat bread or something, you'll solve this problem. That's not what's involved.
But haven't you told us before that it's like an appetite, and people come into a relationship with two different kinds of appetites, and so just like everything else, you have to have a compromise. So
there has to be an overlap. It's like the knuckles on a train, where boxcars join together. They flex and adapt so that as you go over different terrain, it doesn't break apart. Relationships are like that. And so there are times, like if you have siblings, I talk to people all the time, it's like, oh, I love all my brothers and sisters equally. Well, that's crap. You don't. Sometimes you have a favorite, and over time that favorite will change. If you've got three brothers, you like Tom, and then you don't like Joe, but then all of a sudden you're liking Joe a lot, and Tom ticks you off. So it flexes. Relationships endure, and the same thing happens with a husband and wife. There are times when you really like them. I mean, from a therapist's point of view, one of the worst things you can hear is, I really love you, I just don't like you. I'd much rather hear you really like me and you're hoping that you'll fall in love with me or stay in love with me, because liking is a critical component. And we get busy, we get distracted, we get upset, and especially if there's an imbalance in desire. Because, again, we don't have those tools for talking about the fact that there's an imbalance of desire. You don't want it as much as I do. You don't want it as often. You don't want it the same way. I don't want it the way you want it. We don't, that whole literature about arousal and foreplay and invitation and stimulation and bringing the mind, which is your most sexual organ, into the sexual conversation.
And nobody talks.
Nobody talks.
Nobody talks to each other about what they want or what they don't want or
the
when they
risk.
want it. They think it's supposed to be a mind ESP thing.
Yeah, like a Vulcan mind meld,
I'm supposed to be at work thinking I want to do that tonight, and you're supposed to get it.
Yeah,
across
automatically.
town.
Yeah, we were signaling.
It doesn't work like that. But no one's taught that, and the movies tell us different things, and our parents don't talk to us about it, or they do, and we don't want to hear it from them, and everything seems to confuse us.
Yes.
But when, say, we have the desire or we have it back, then when